How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Infinite Sports. I'm your host, Kenneth Grunfelder, and today I will be giving you guys my Thanksgiving Day picks in the NFL, and also including the Black Friday game as well tomorrow between the Eagles and the Bears. First of all, I just want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. Hope everybody eats a lot of food today, enjoys some time with their loved ones. But this will be a quick episode. I wanted to make sure I got this out for you. So we'll start off with the first game. Now, usually the first game starts at 12:30. They bumped it back, the NFL, a half hour. So it's starting at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, and that is the Green Bay Packers and the Detroit Lions. They did play each other on Thanksgiving a couple of years ago, and the Packers pulled off an upset there. Jordan Love and Christian Watson lit it up. Watson had some big plays in that game, had a touchdown. And yeah, the Packers pulled off the upset, and that was kind of the beginning of Jordan Love's second half resurgence. And the Packers played really well down the stretch in 2023. They got all the way to the divisional round. They had the 49ers on the ropes. They ended up losing. But yeah, that was kind of the catalyst game for that run for the Packers. Now, in this game, I don't feel the same way. Now, I think the Packers have a very good defense, a better defense than they had a couple years ago. But the offense is coming in. I don't really have confidence in this offense right now. Now, not to say that I look at Detroit and I say Detroit's the same team that they've been the last couple years. Now, I still think that they're explosive on offense, and we've seen what Jahmyr Gibbs has done recently. I mean, look at what he just did against the Giants. But something's off with the Lions. And I think this game is going to be close, but I am leaning towards the Lions in this game. I think Green Bay's beat up on offense. I haven't really liked what I've seen out of them offensively all year. They really haven't gotten it going. And the injuries, I think, have really caught up to them, where it's too much for them to overcome. Tucker Kraft being out is a huge injury. I know the receivers are still a little banged up. They're waiting on Jaden Reed to come back. Christian Watson's come back and has played well. Drops have been an issue for this team. We've seen Romeo Doubs drop some passes, and some of the other receivers as well. Josh Jacobs is back for this game. He missed last week against the Vikings, or Sunday against the Vikings. So getting him back for this game is very important. But for the Packers, they need to air it out more. Okay, and the other problem is the offensive line's banged up too. So that hurts. But they need to put the ball more in Jordan Love's hands. Okay? Because this game, now, unless the Packers defense is holding down the Lions offense, then you could play to how you usually do, which is running the football and kind of slowing the game down. But if this game becomes a shootout, you're going to have to put the ball in Jordan Love's hands. And weather's not going to be a factor in this game. So, let Jordan Love air it out if he has to. Because I just feel like the Packers, they become so run heavy. And I think you got to have some kind of balance there. Like I said, the receivers, they got to do a better job at holding on to the ball. Jordan Love has got to do a better job at protecting the football, which he has done for the most part. His touchdown to interception ratio is not bad. But the Packers, we need to see more on offense. Now with the Lions, like I said, they haven't looked the same. Interesting situation. Frank Ragnow, their center who retired before the season, he has now come back. So he's being reinserted. So I guess, that's a good addition, because we talk about offensive lines. The Lions' offensive line has not been as much of a strength as it has been in years past. And with a quarterback like Jared Goff, you need to make sure that he's protected. So getting him back, that's good. They're missing Sam Laporta. I don't think Khalif Raymond is playing in this game, but you got Amon-Ra St. Brown, you got Jameson Williams, and you have the two running backs, of course. And David Montgomery's kind of become a true RB2, because he hasn't really been that impactful this season outside of the Ravens game early on, but it's because Jahmyr Gibbs has been amazing recently, that, yeah, you're going to give him most of the touches. So, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. And the Lions' defense has not been that great. I mean, look at what the Giants offense did to them. I mean, Jameis Winston had a field day against the Lions defense. So, the Packers, this is a divisional opponent. You know what they're all about, and the Packers, had a dominant win against them in Week 1, and everyone was looking at them as Super Bowl contenders. But I this time around, I don't see the Packers having that same type of success. I think they will put pressure on Jared Goff. They'll get to him, but where both teams are at right now, I lean towards the Lions in this game to win. Now, the number right now is 3. Packers are getting 3 points. In my spread pool, it was at 2.5. I'm going to take the Lions to win this game and cover. They're at home. I just think the Packers are going to struggle to score points in this game, the way the offenses look. It wouldn't surprise me if, they play a good game, because I don't really trust the Lions defense, and the Packers have a better defense. But I think the Lions do just enough here where they get the win and they cover. So I'll take the Lions. Then the middle game. Now, first of all, I just want to say, this slate, probably the best slate we've had on Thanksgiving. The middle game is probably the best game of the day, and that is the Kansas City Chiefs and the Dallas Cowboys in Jerry World. Cowboys are 3-point underdogs in this game. The Chiefs are coming off of a comeback win against the Colts, and the Cowboys are coming off of a comeback win against the Eagles, down 21-0, and they scored 24 unanswered points. I thought that was an impressive victory for the Cowboys, and for the Chiefs, it didn't look good there for a while, but they were able to come back and defeat the Colts, make some key stops, and win it in overtime. Yeah, the Chiefs, earlier in the season, now in the beginning of the year, when they started off 0-2, you were like, oof, that's not good. That's un-Chief-like. And then all of a sudden they started playing better, and the offense looked a lot better. And you thought, well, here come the Chiefs. And now they've kind of fallen back down again. Losing to the Broncos. It's just something's not right with them now. And they're coming in, and I just don't think they're carrying a lot of momentum. They are carrying momentum from the game on Sunday. But if you were to ask me a couple of weeks ago who I would have taken in this game, I definitely would have hammered the Chiefs. And I'll probably still get screwed because of this, but I'm kind of leaning towards the Cowboys with the points. I think the defense is playing better. The acquisitions that they made at the trade deadline, I think, are paying off. Now, that's not to say that I think they're going to shut down the Chiefs. No, I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. The Cowboys' offense has looked very good. Dak Prescott's having a very good year. George Pickens, what an acquisition he's been. CeeDee Lamb, we talk about drops with the Packers. CeeDee Lamb's going to make sure he holds on to the football in this game, because it's going to matter. You're not going to get away with that against. These aren't the Raiders you're playing. And the Eagles. You're fortunate their offense just completely shut down after you went up 21-0. So he's going to have to do a better job holding on to the football, and I think they'll be able to run the ball a little bit against the Chiefs with Javonte Williams, who's had a good year. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think for the Chiefs, they're going to have their hands full guarding these receivers, and Dak Prescott's had a good year. So it's going to come down to who has the ball last. But I kind of like the Cowboys to cover in this game. I think I'm still going to lean towards the Chiefs winning, but I think the Cowboys can definitely keep it close and cover the number. With them being the home team, Dak usually plays well on Thanksgiving for the most part. And I just think with these receivers, like I said, the Chiefs are going to have their hands full. Now, they're going to have something cooked up, but is it going to be enough? We'll have to wait and see. But, yeah, I like the Cowboys to cover in this spot, but I'm still going to lean towards the Chiefs getting the win. And the last time that the Chiefs went to Dallas, you had that play right before the end of the first half, where Tyreek Hill, Alex Smith threw a little pass to him, and he kind of just wiggled his way through traffic and was able to score a touchdown on that. Now, the Chiefs are not going to be, maybe Xavier Worthy could do that, Maybe we'll see a couple of 60-yard field goals between Butker and Brandon Aubrey. So yeah, no, I'm looking forward to this game. I think this is going to be the best game on the slate. It's going to be high scoring. Actually, what's the over under in this game? It's 52.5. Yeah, I think you could see like a 34-31 final score, something like that. But yeah, I'm going to take the Cowboys to cover, but I'm going to take the Chiefs to win the game. And then the final game of the slate for today. Joe Burrow makes his return after being out for a couple months with the turf toe. He makes his return against the Ravens, who are 7.5 point favorites. It's a big number. There's no T. Higgins in this game, which is a big loss for the Bengals. But if you remember last year when Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow played on Thursday night, Jamar Chase had, like, I think he had over 200 yards receiving and 3 touchdowns. Burrow had a good game. The Ravens did win that. I think it was by a point because the Bengals went for two at the end. I think the final score was like 35-34. And yeah, the Ravens got the win there. I expect the Ravens to win this game, but I think this is a big number. And the Ravens defense has played a lot better, which does concern me. And the Bengals defense is not good. We know that. But the Ravens offensively, they've been another team that hasn't looked great. And that's mainly because Lamar Jackson is playing compromised right now. He's not the same player that he was earlier in the season. You go back to that Bills game. I know they lost, but Lamar Jackson was running all over the place. Now, since he's come back, he hasn't looked like the same player. So he is kind of restricted right now, which I think will play into the Bengals' favor. Now, Joe Burrow is going to be rusty because he hasn't played in a couple months. And Jamar Chase is coming back from the suspension. I think the Bengals could keep it within 7. I think they could do that. And the Bengals are desperate right now because now they're going to have to do what they did last year and try to run the table and to at least have a shot at making the postseason, which I don't think they will make the postseason. I just think the AFC is a better conference than what it was last year. And I just don't think that the Bengals have a shot. They'd really have to rely on a lot of teams to fall off, which I don't think is going to happen. And I just think with the defense that they have, it's going to be tough to win out. It's going to be tough to win out. And you got to make sure you keep Joe Burrow upright. Flacco, I thought, did a good job. They definitely could have won some more games had their defense have been able to get stops. But that wasn't the case. But yeah, I expect this game to be high scoring. Derrick Henry last year against the Bengals, he had a field day against them in the I think in the first game. The second game, I don't think he really did that much. But Jamar Chase had the field day last year. So this is definitely a game that could be up there, and there could be a lot of points scored as well. But yeah, I think the Bengals are going to keep it within the number. So I'm going to take them with the 7.5. But I think the Ravens win a close game. That's my prediction. So with the 3 Thanksgiving games, I got the Lions as the favorites. I got the Cowboys covering as the underdog against the Chiefs. And I got the Ravens. Well, I got the Ravens winning, but the Bengals covering. So those are my picks for Thanksgiving. So let's transition now to the game tomorrow, the Black Friday game between the Eagles and the Bears. So right now the Bears are a touchdown underdog. They're getting 7 points. Eagles coming off of that disappointing loss to the Cowboys, and then you got the Bears coming off of that win against the Steelers. It's a little dicey, but Bears were able to get the win. Bears have been playing some good football right now. They're in first place in the NFC North. Right now they currently hold what's the lead they hold? They hold a half-game lead over the Packers. And they hold a 1-game lead over the Lions. It's going to be a tight race down the stretch here. And this is a tough game for them, going to Philly. And they got some tough games on the schedule left. They got the Eagles, they got the Packers twice, they got the Lions at the end of the year. They're at San Francisco. And then they're home against the Browns, who have a good defense. But they should win that game. I mean, we'll see how Shedeur Sanders continues to progress since he's going to be the starter going forward. But yeah, not the easiest end to their season. But they have rattled off 4 games in a row. They've beaten the Bengals, the Giants, the Vikings, and the Steelers. I mean, you could say what you want about who they've played against, but they've beaten who they've played on their schedule. And Caleb Williams has had a good year. I like the combination at running back between Swift and Monangai. The defense I thought was going to be better this year, and I think that's going to continue to be a little bit of an issue. But I think the Bears are only going to get better from here beyond this season. They are definitely heading in the right direction. Ben Johnson has done a good job. I just think in this spot, Philly's very good at home. And that defense is very good. I know against Dallas, things fell apart, but this is a very good defense that the Bears are going to be going up against. And I also think that this could be a game that Saquon Barkley shows out and has a big game. Now, I know he's a little banged up with the groin injury, but if he's playing, I think Saquon can have a good game. And I think this offense gets it going again. I think they're definitely going to be ticked off from what happened on Sunday against the Cowboys. And I think they win by more than a touchdown. Again, especially being at home, which they play very well at home. So, and force Caleb Williams into some turnovers that they capitalize off of. I like the Eagles in this spot to bounce back and win and cover the number here. So I'm going to take the Eagles in the Black Friday game. So to go over everything again, one final time, we're taking the Lions. We're taking the Cowboys as an underdog to cover. We are taking the Bengals to cover as an underdog, and we're going to take the Eagles to win outright and cover. So those are my 4 picks. We'll do the rest of the picks. We'll try to on Saturday, but those are my picks. And that is pretty much it. So I hope everybody, again, has a nice Thanksgiving. Enjoy it. Eat a lot of food. Watch some football. Spend some time with your loved ones. And as always, everybody, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the video and to the channel. Make sure to follow us on the social media platforms in the description below. And wherever you get your podcasts, you can listen to us as well. Just look up Infinite Sports and you'll find us there. And until next time, everybody, I'm your host, Kenneth Grunfelder, signing off. Have a good one. Talk to you guys next time. Take care.